Here's my R80 GS. I've taken the panels off so you can see more easily the modifications I've done to the motorcycle. Mainly the frame reinforcements, so I can get in there real close so you can see those. One of the biggest modifications on the R80 is the changing of the forks. The stock forks are basically a wet noodle. You'll get them flexing when you brake. The wheel will kind of rotate off to one side, and you can actually see that. So one of the modifications that people do is quite favorable, especially in the adventure bike group, is to change the forks over to DRZ forks. But in doing so, you need to respring them for the motorcycle, change triple clamps so you keep the stock geometry, and of course change the valving. I've had the forks upgraded through GM CompuTrack of Atlanta. Kent revalved the forks, changed the springs, more for this application. So what I've done here, you have the DRZ forks, powder coated the lowers, and also had to change the front wheel. I relaced this wheel rim, which is an XL 21-inch rim, to a RM 250 Suzuki hub. Now Woody's Wheel Works built the wheel up for me. It's their triple lace spoke count, triple lace, I can't think of what he calls it, super lace, and it's heavier duty spokes, probably more than what I need, but no harm overdoing it. Got custom axle spacers here to get the orientation to the forks just right. Also a 320 millimeter front rotor paired with F650 brake caliper. That's a BMW F650. Has the adapter bracket that you can see right here. Also a stainless steel line, braided line, running up through mounting locations. Can't think of what I'm going to say. Through mounting locations. This guide here keeps the brake line routed real nice and neat. And you can just see the triple clamps. These triple clamps, a gentleman from Germany makes these. He's made quite a few of these for R80 GSs and R100 GSs. Uses the same mounting locations for the headlight nacelle. The only difference being this T-mount for the headlight nacelle is from R100 GS instead of an R80. It's a little longer. Here you can see the top of the top clamps. I made a bracket to fit the F650 turn signal on either side. You can see on this headlight nacelle it uses the same rubber friction mounting locations for the nacelle. So this just pops in. It's a real good design. The gentleman spent a good amount of time designing this fork clamp. You can just see the Scott steering damper here. Now with the tower pin is HPN Precision, clamps onto the headset, which I don't think you can get these anymore. He makes runs of them off and on. There's bar risers on here. Very neat design for the damper. Also, with the handlebars, I've added round mounts. That way you can put your phone or GPS up there if you want to. Also, just visible here is a USB accessory plug. I have the collapsible mirrors, which are real nice. Can't remember the name right now. But before I put this fork on the motorcycle, I had Kent at GMD CompuTrack, who also has a big frame jig. I had him check the alignment of the frame. So he put it on his big jig, checked the alignment, made sure it was in specifications. And then once he was assured that it was okay, I went ahead and had him put gussets in the frame. The gussets came from another gentleman in Germany, SWT Motorsports. He has a frame kit for the gussets, pre-cut and everything. Real nice kit. But what I had Kent do, he's added a brace here. It's a 3-piece mounting brace to help tighten up the headset. You can just see it here, and on the other side. But most notably, probably the most important one, is there's a triangular like brace right here that is welded in to these sections. Really stiffens up the front end. And with this DRZ fork, it's quite beneficial. You will notice the difference with this fork and the frame straightening, stiffening, that it really helps the motorcycle track well. And going with another reinforcement, you can see it better on this side. There's one kind of a horseshoe bracket welded in on both sides, this side and the other side. And you can see more of this strengthening piece right here. And if you look closely, you can tell the wiring harness is still pretty new. Well, it looks new still. I put the wiring harness in, good night, it's probably been 70,000 miles ago. But it's still in good shape. The original one had, somebody spliced it at the headset and did soldering, that wasn't any good. But another reinforcing area is the critical point at the swing arm. Right here, there's another one on the other side. Really stiffens up the rear. And here it is over here. And also a little additional support for the shock right there. That was all I had done on the frame stiffening. You can see the Olin shock. Now we'll just do kind of a walk around of the motorcycle. Now since ownership, I've replaced the headset bearings, rear swing arm bearings, wiring harness, like I said, was replaced when I bought the motorcycle. Well, shortly after I bought it. OEM harness, you can see the wires are still pretty fresh. It didn't take much to clean up the motorcycle. Had the front engine cover powder coated. This where the timing gears connect, powder coated. The top cover powder coated, and some various other little pieces powder coated. The hard to get BMW bash plate, can't get these anymore. Now I had I did the top end push rod seals probably only 2,000 miles ago, so she's dry. They like to weep every now and then, so I took care of those. Took the changed push rod seals and base gasket and valve cover gasket. And another note of something I had done, I had the heads rebuilt. Let's see here, the heads were rebuilt 20,000 miles ago by Ted Porter from the Beamer shop, well-respected gentleman. He put new valves, seats, and at that time I did the cylinders, had the cylinders re-Nicosil plated, also did new pistons, new rings, and whatnot. This is the whole top end rebuilt 20,000 miles ago, so they should be lasting you for quite a while. I'll tune the motorcycle up whenever it needs it, which, well, I just do it once or twice a year. It's fiddly, it's pretty quick for me, it doesn't take me any time. You can see she's still pretty dry in various locations, the critical locations. The Olin's rear shock, final drive, you can see the different breather I have on it. I had the original breather somewhere in a box, it'll come with the bike. But sometimes water may want to get into this little piece right here. So that's why I added this one. The hose routes up to the backbone of the chassis. Here we had the luggage racks. I added some gussets or reinforcements on these because when I had the metal bags, I'm a little concerned that maybe they'll break. But I added this piece here, added a gusset right here, and did the same on the other side. Tail light, I have LED hyper lights on either side, but also internally, it's a board that has LEDs in here. It's quite bright. Stoplight, running light. You can see more brace here, another brace here. Coduro muffler, stainless steel. Okay, and I have a custom heat guard that I bent up to keep my leg off, you know, this pipe here. Endurace voltage regulator, that's fairly recent. I also have another one as a spare. There's another gusset right here. And notice a lot of these BMWs with the Kickstarter, it will stick out here. That shows that something internally is bent. So notice this one's nice and flush. No leaks. Swing arm, no leaks back there. Recently did the neutral switch, which is under here. It was giving me some problems with the telltale light on the instrument panel, so I replaced it. You still see no leaks. I changed the shifter. This is a stock shifter, but I cut it down and added this, cut down the length, add this shifter so my foot fits in here a little bit better. I have the stock one. Custom foot braces, foot pegs. Also, I added a bigger foot on the side stand along with the little loop here to help me get a hold of it. K&N air filter is underneath that, and I've added these to get a little bit more air in there. I had a dyno run on it and it was running a little rich, so I went with smaller jets and opened the air cleaner up a little bit. I have another air cleaner top that's still the factory if you just don't like the idea of doing that. Easy change out. Here's the wires tucked up in there, throttle cables and choke cables right there. Powder coated top cover. Also, while I'm at the top cover, it has a Nip and Denso starter, which is a lighter weight, higher torque starter. A little expensive, but kind of saves the battery, doesn't use as much current. Here's another view of the cylinder head. Notice she's still very dry off underneath there. Ought to be. But I probably missed something. But I get more enjoyment of showing the frame and the modifications than I think I do the new tanks and body panels, because this is where it counts. I've upgraded the frame, and you can feel it. It handles better. It's not as flexy in braking. It tracks better. Now I'll run through and mention some things I've done. Like I said, new wiring harness when I bought the motorcycle. Well, shortly after. Also had the speedometer rebuilt, so it's fully functional. Let's see, and at 100,000 miles, 70,000 miles ago, I had the transmission rebuilt by Gunther out of Alabama, German gentleman, go figure. At that time, he put a taller fifth gear in the transmission. I had the input shaft bearing, which was going out. Like I said, that was 70,000 miles ago. Okay, about 30,000 miles ago is when I had the forks, DRZ forks put in. When I went through and had the frame stiffened. After the frame was stiffened up and the welding was done on the brackets, I sandblasted and painted the frame black. Then, unfortunately, I had the transmission rebuilt at 100,000 miles. Then at 143,000 miles, the shifter spring pawl broke. So I had to pull the transmission out, which wasn't that long. And I sent the transmission off to Anton at Virginia Motor Rad. He's well respected. So that was 30,000 miles ago when he did the shifter pawl on the transmission, and he replaced some bearings at the time. Okay, at 152,000 miles, I had the heads rebuilt. I was dealing with some valve recession. I'd ridden the Continental Divide Trail, and on the way back, the valves I was losing my adjustment on the valves. So that was 20,000 miles ago. I had the heads rebuilt by Ted Porter at the Beamer shop. At that time, I also replaced the pistons with brand new BMW R80 pistons and rings. Had the cylinders re-nickel-sealed through Millennium Technologies. And at 158,000 miles, 14,000 miles ago, which is 2018, I did the timing chain, the gears, the tensioner, and the front engine seal. And then in 2023, September 2023, about 2,000 miles ago, I replaced the pushrod seals, the cylinder base gasket, readjusted timing, valves, adjusted carburetors. And we're getting up to the last few final things. Did a compression check September 23rd. I was showing 118 psi in both the left and right cylinders. And at 172,000, which was October 18th, I did the front brake pads with F60 Galfer organic pads. I feel like I skipped over something I was going to reiterate, but dang, I can't remember what it was. I can't think of anything that the motorcycle would actually need as far as attention. It runs well. I keep it tuned up. I can tell when the valves, well, since I had the heads redone, the valves haven't really needed to be touched as far as the gap goes. So that means I'm in good shape for the valves. They're not recessing. Ted Porter did a very good job on the heads. I'm very confident that he knew what he was doing. While I'm at it, another thing. Here's where the battery goes. Right here, I have a bunch of fuses for accessories. The only thing I have right now are the grips and the accessory plug, which is on the left side, on the side cover. The grips are really nice. They're like push, you can adjust it with the push button switch. It's really nice. Handy, they work well. Master cylinder was probably replaced when I did the forks. So that's a 12 or 13 millimeter master cylinder. No problems with it. I flush the brake fluid fairly often on this motorcycle. It's pretty easy to do. There's a picture of the rear rack, the Öhlins. I like that thing. It makes a difference in the way the motorcycle rides. Oh, another thing. I did have the final drive inspected about 20,000 miles ago. I had Anton at Virginia Motor Ed. I sent it to him. I just said, check it. Make sure the lash is good. Make sure I don't have too much wear on bearings or anything. He checked it. Checked out great. He replaced the seals in the final drive. Of course, you know these mono levers are about bulletproof. Also come with an extra rear assembly, which is nice. But this is the accessory outlet. I'll plug in. The red one's the hot. The open one is the ground. Bark busters. Very well taken care of motorcycle. Even though she has 172,000 miles on it, these bottom ends, they don't need attention. It's the top ends which are the weak point, and transmission, which that's all been addressed. So she's good to go. The final drive, not an issue on the R80 G/S. So you can tell she's very well maintained. I'm a stickler for detail, keeping it up. You can see you got a little wear and stuff on the crash bars. I have a new set of OEM crash bars, and those are a little worse for wear on the valve covers. And yeah, the flat spot there on the crash bar, but the valve cover did a good job. That happened many years ago, but there you go. I don't think I missed anything. If you have any more questions or comments, feel free to get a hold of me through the YouTube spot or where I'm going to list this. So hope you enjoyed the video.